Okay, so on to Sony. I think Sony was hit or miss. There were some highlights of their press conference, and there was a bunch of lowlights. Um, Let me just start off with the. I actually fell asleep during their press conference, and part of the problem was they were forcing the excitement. And Sony is guilty of this, and Microsoft used to do this a long time ago with, what was it, Phil Spencer or whoever the guy was before, the guy who's running it now. One of the things they would do is, like with their Kinect games, they were constantly saying, "Oh my God, this is cool, this is awesome," but everyone's like, "Boo, change this shit, fuck this." But with Sony, there were points where we were like, okay, this is cool. You know, you're announcing some great shit. And they did. They announced some great shit. But at the same time, during the parts where people just honestly didn't give a shit, I had a. And look, I don't know if this is true or not, but I truly think that Sony had an applause track on their press conference. Because at the end of every single announcement, there seemed to be two split audios. One seemed heavily like the same always, and it was like an even more excitement. And then there was the actual audience sound that you could hear during this press conference. And I have a feeling that whenever the game that they announced was honestly not being well received, they would just boost that second clap track, as I would call it. And I don't know, watch it for yourself and really listen to it after when they pan out of the direct video feed, which thank God they fucking changed this year. Last year, Jesus Christ, they were going back and forth in the middle of these presentations, and we're like, I can't fucking see the game you're trying to show me. At least now they waited until the title screen at the end of the trailer and zoomed out so they can get the audience's reaction to these things. But yeah, I really think that a lot of the applause was staged. I don't believe that they applauded everything that they announced because Sony, as I said, highlights and lowlights. So we'll start off with The Last Guardian. They announced it finally. It's something they announced, I believe it was like 3 or 4 years ago, and it never was brought up again. Now, for me, I don't have the excitement for this game because I don't, I can't have excitement for something I've never played or that, it's not a sequel to any game. I know it's based off of like games like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. I have a feeling that it's kind of like a spiritual successor to these. But people were like diehard fans saying that this was going to be vaporware and Sony will never announce it. So they opened it up with that game. And what's funny is that the announcer goes, he's like, yeah, this is something you guys have been wanting us to announce for a long time, and everyone's getting all excited, and then they show it, and people were really happy. What I saw in the game, I mean, they just showed stuff. I mean, I don't know if it was scripted gameplay or if it's actual gameplay. I would like to see more of it before I would consider purchasing the game. Then they follow up with, what was the next game? I'm trying to remember. This was all yesterday. I'm only going to mention what I remember, guys. They show off a trailer to a game that people have been teased nonstop. Last year, the makers of Final Fantasy teased a remake of Final Fantasy VII. But they teased it in a way where everyone's like, you've been wanting this, blah, 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 and everyone's getting excited, and they're like, we're bringing Final Fantasy VII to the PC in HD, and everyone's like, oh yeah, this is going to be cool, and then they show the trailer, and it's a fucking remake of the exact same game, just with a higher resolution. So it was the same pixels and stuff from the PlayStation era, and people were pissed. This year, Sony, I have to say, they hit the ball out of the park with this one, is they show off the trailer, and I knew right away when I saw it, I'm like, they finally fucking did it. They finally did what people have been wanting since the tech demo that was shown off on the PlayStation 3. They're finally releasing a remake of Final Fantasy VII, and from what they showed, yeah, it looked like it was all the rendered cutscenes. They didn't show any actual gameplay, but damn, it looks fucking amazing, and I can't wait to see it and play it myself. So that's definitely something I would pick up. And from what I know, it's going to be on PC and PlayStation 4, which of course, Sony doesn't understand the definition of exclusive because they're like, it's exclusive to PS4 and PC. It's like, well, it's not an exclusive if it's available on two platforms. So Sony, I guess, is just, they're doing exactly what Microsoft was doing years ago with the Xbox 360. They're just trying to like say, hey, we're the best, whatever. And they did the same thing for Street Fighter V, which again is, I don't give a shit. I don't see how it's any different than Street Fighter 4, but you have your diehard fans, and that's understandable. What else? Then they showed this stupid game from Media Molecule. Now, Media Molecule, I have zero respect for. I know people like their character Sackboy, but Media Molecule, I always feel like whenever they're announcing their games, I feel like I'm in a fucking philosophy or psychology class, because it's just like they spend so much time talking about what we wanted to do was give somebody the ability to capture their dreams, and look, you can make a puppet and dances and shit. I'm like, oh god, it's a glorified art studio, and why the fuck does anyone give a shit? Media Molecule doesn't make games. They make tools for other people to make games. And the sooner people pick up on that, the better. I mean, they really aren't a game maker. And I don't think this whole Dreams game is a game. I really think it's a stupid thing. And you know what? It was boring to watch and boring to, I was rolling my eyes throughout the whole thing. They announced, I think, only one Vita game, but it's a tie-in with a PlayStation 4 title, so it's available on both. That's, I think, the only Vita. I don't even remember what the fuck the game was. Let's see. They announced that they're going to have their own television brand, which allows you to buy channels a la carte. So there's no packages, and people are excited about it, but I don't buy a PlayStation to watch TV. Same thing, I didn't buy an Xbox to watch TV either. What else? They were talking about Spotify, which I forgot that Spotify was integrated with the PlayStation 4. I haven't used mine since Christmas, so I don't know what they've changed to the console. I hope to get mine back soon. But yeah, I mean, with Sony, I don't remember anything else. There was trailers and stuff. They spend way too much time talking about Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and how they made it an exclusive to Sony's console, which is one of those dipshit things that Microsoft used to do. We're getting DLC first. We're getting this timed exclusive first. Woo! It's like, okay, Sony, you're getting full of yourself. But they spent so much time talking about Call of Duty, and I'm like, even the guy that was talking about the game, it seems like they were forcing the excitement. And to me, I'm like, okay, I enjoy Call of Duty, but I'm not interested. I could give a shit. If I play it, I play it. If I don't, I don't. But I definitely think Call of Duty has finally fully run its course. I really think it's got a year or two left, and then that's it. They're going to just cease production of new games. I really think that that's going to be the case. They didn't announce any Battlefield games this year, which I guess that really proves that it's starting to lose its course too. They showed off an Assassin's Creed, and what's funny is now you have a playable female character, which people have been asking for years now. But then again, I could give a shit about Assassin's Creed. There are just so many sequels, and it's completely played to death. I think if they wanted to bring it back, skip a few years. Wait like 5 years and then announce a new one. I think people would be excited again. What else did Sony announce? They didn't show off any Ratchet and Clank. They showed off stuff. I forget. That just shows if I'm not deeply interested in what they're announcing, I lose interest. And I think that's what a lot of people were doing later on in the show. They, after they showed off, Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think people were like, you were losing them, But overall, I think Sony did they did the second best out of all three of the announcements. I think that Sony is okay, but they are getting so fucking full of themselves and cocky, and I think that they're destined to fuck up again.